Test 1 2 1. Or test. Ooh. Test 1 2. Test 1 2. Test 1 2. Test 1 2. Okay. All right, folks. What is good? It is the Godfather of VR, the ageless one of the man Lincoln Clay. We are back for some more Project Motor Racing. Once again, we are on my streaming PC. As you saw in the title, it has a 3070 Ti in it, and I am also on my other wheelbase, the Logitech G923. And I'd like to start off thanking everyone for watching yesterday's stream. I made it a point to put the GPU that I was using in both of the streams yesterday, because in other people's stream, I've seen that question come up a lot since some streamers, the game was crashing on them multiple times. People in the chat started asking them what was their PC specs, and so I just put that in the title, so your question is already answered before you even ask it. I don't have a problem asking that question if somebody answers it, but I just wanted to put the answer right there in front of them in case they wanted to ask. In the case of my 4090, I expected the game to run, even if it wasn't optimized well. I still expected the game to run on that 4090, but I thought, like, this computer that I'm sitting at right here, I thought would be the true test on the 3070 Ti, because that's something that I've been stressing for weeks, months, of what I think the minimum barrier to entry is to playing games in general across the board. I don't really believe in this philosophy about basically making it like where you have to have a graphics card that's got 12 gigs of VRAM. I think a card with 8 gigs of VRAM can still run the majority of these games. I mean, that latest Final Fantasy game, no, not Final Fantasy, but a Monster Hunter game, that was a prime example. That was a game where people were yapping that you needed a card that had 12 gigs of VRAM, but then you go to the Steam page and the minimum GPU needed is a 1070, and the recommended is a 2060. So where does this 12 gigs of VRAM shit come from if you only require a 1070 to even run the game? I used the benchmark tool for that, for the Monster Hunter, and at 1080p at high settings I was still getting about 88 frames per second. So yeah, when it comes to sim racing, I've talked about that multiple times, that I think if you're not going to race in VR, a 3070 will work on just about any game if you're willing to, if it's not mandatory to run the game in 4K with ray tracing and all that shit. A 3070 Ti, I think, will work across the board, even in VR. As far as the racing games that I have in VR, ACC is the only game that my PC is having issues running. ACC in VR, it runs the flat screen game just fine. But once upon a time, my computer did run it. This 3070 Ti, once upon a time it did run it, but something's happened over the last 6 months where my computer doesn't want to run it. I don't know if it was an update on their end. I don't know if it's the old Windows update shenanigans, or or even an update from Meta, which is the headsets that I use. But in any case, once again, thanks to everybody that watched those streams. I kind of figured that the stream where I put the 3070 Ti in the title would probably get a few more views, because I think that aligns with a lot of people that have PCs of those same specs. Um, I haven't really dug into the spec of the average user on Steam, but I'm led to believe it's like, you know, 3070 or lower. So I think a lot more people would be curious about how this game runs on a 3070 Ti versus a 4090. It's expected that it'll run on a 4090. Um, so before we get back to I'll continue on about Project Motor Racing in the aftermath and yada yada yada, but I will do want to change the subject for a split second and remind everybody that the GT7 Spec 3 update happens a week from this coming Friday on December 5th, which I find kind of weird to release that on a Friday. I think, you know, I think releasing that on a Monday would probably be ideal, so you can instantly put the game in on some daily races. But you know, it is what it is. I will be checking out the Spec 3 update because it's free. I have no intentions of buying the GT7 Power Pack DLC because excuse me, you know, I'm still middle of the road with GT7. So I absolutely have no intentions of paying for DLC. This, you know, this basically added single player races and challenges. But I will stream GT7 once we get the Spec 3 update, only because I want to try the Yas Marina track and the Ferrari 296 on GT7. I definitely want to see how those look on PSVR 2, especially the Yas Marina track. It's a beautiful track, even though I'm not that good at it. But it is a well-lit track, and it is absolutely beautiful on F125. And so I think GT7 might be the only... It's actually a beautiful track on Forza, but I think GT7 would be the only one where I'd be able to race that track on like a GT3 car in VR. So we'll definitely check that out. And then after that, in January, my PlayStation Plus membership expires, and I'm not renewing it. So I will probably be done streaming GT7 in January. You know, unless I get the urge to do a couple of laps in a single player game. But I think as far as multiplayer goes, I'm probably done with no intentions of streaming any multiplayer games on GT7. Um, there might be a couple of things that when GT8 comes out that could possibly pull me back, but that's a topic for another day. And I think another thing, I was watching a streamer named No This Is Gesture, and I've seen one of his streams before, and he's got about 2,000 subs, and I like his attitude because he was one of the guys that spoke up about the problems with GT7. While other streamers, since GT7 is the lifeline of their channel, they're careful about how they critique the game, or this guy doesn't hold back. And he's streaming right now as we speak. And while people are trashing Project Motor Racing, he likes the game and he's finding positives in it and sees the potential in the game. So I went ahead and gave him a sub. So I'd say go give him a look when you get a chance. His name is No This Is Gesture. So now the aftermath of Project Motor Racing. As expected, I woke up to streams, videos, shorts all over the place about Project Motor Racing, and most of it was, I would probably say, slightly on the negative side. This game is still getting obliterated. But I think some of the harsh criticism of Project Motor Racing, I don't think it's genuine. I think some people are doing it for clicks, views. I think some people are doing it to stick it to the devs because they didn't like the NDAs that they were under. And I think other people have an issue about the way that the devs, Ian Bell in particular, the way he hyped this game up and what we actually got. So I think that's the biggest problem with how people feel about this game. I don't think they're hollering about if the game is actually broken. I think their biggest issue with the game is what we were promised versus what we actually got, and all the braggadocious shit, you know, that Ian Bell was saying. And I think some of the criticism is warranted. In particular, the AI, because I think he basically made it sound like this game is going to have the best AI of any racing game, and it's not the worst, but it's definitely not good. The AI will drive right through you, and will make no effort to try to go around you. So yeah, the AI definitely needs some work. Other criticisms with the console version of Project Motor Racing, I haven't really went out of my way to find content about the Xbox version of the game. I do understand that some people weren't able to even launch the game, but on the PS5 side, most of the criticism comes from the graphics. I was watching Armageddon Good, one of the guys I sub to, and today was his first time playing the PS5 version of it. And as far as the graphics goes, he said that the distance was blurry. So that's a criticism of it. That seems to be the main criticism is the graphics of the PS5. But some people have said that the PS5 version actually runs better than the PC version. And then more criticism on Project Motor Racing. In addition to the AI, the game still seems to be crashing for some people, and that's another reason why I put the title of my graphics card. That's why I put the my graphics card in the title of the stream, so you can see for yourself what's it running on. Let me see here. Graphics setting, display. Input device. Okay, yeah, you can see that I'm running the G923 right there for PlayStation. So yeah, for some people, the game still seems to be crashing. Some people still hollering about the force feedback. My take on the force feedback is that I think it's inconsistent. Some cars, the force feedback is pretty good on some cars. Some of them not so much. Some people are crying about the physics, the handling, and to me the handling, some cars are pretty good, some of them not so much, but across the board the handling feels like Automobilista too. So people have just complained about so much, in my opinion, kind of small shit, and I can't even remember all of it. So just to reiterate to everyone, what my personal issue is with the game is the AI. The online seems to be inconsistent. Sometimes the list is populated, and sometimes there's only a few races listed, and I think because of the issues with the multiplayer, this, like, it's almost like nobody's there. They need to get this fixed quick, you know, showing this to you. So you see here in these rank races, one person registered. After that, nothing. nobody's registered for anything. So whatever issues they're having with the online, they need to fix that quick. And then you go into the custom lobbies. Well, this is a little bit more here than what I saw earlier. So maybe we'll try to get into one of those. Now, we all know that because of how much this game is getting trashed, only hours after the game released, the devs put out a sort of an apology letter, which I read yesterday on my stream. And I think that apology letter was damage control, because I am of the impression that a lot of people were refunding the game, and I think they probably came out with that apology letter to stop the bleeding, basically to try to slow down the amount of people refunding the game by promising them that they will fix the game, so they'll, you know, stick around and you know, weather the storm. So I think I don't think they expected the reception to be this
At
bad.
FS Mango Juice said, "This game is doomed."
It's funny that you mentioned that, because I do think the game can be saved, but I think they have to do it at a slow burn. Fixing, like, yeah, they definitely got to fix the online, and they got to let everybody know that it's fixed. I like putting out notification after notification. Okay, force feedback has been tweaked. This has been fixed. You know, physics have been tweaked. That stuff's not going to bring any people back. I think content will bring people to this game. And I think they have to do it at a slow burn. I don't think they can go off and release a pack with like 5 cars and 5 tracks and boom, hit everybody at once. I think they have to do it one track, maybe one car at a time. Release one track, maybe give everybody a free track, release one track to bring people in. And then one thing that I definitely see it with Automobilista 2. What I see with Automobilista 2 is they'll come out with new content, everybody flocks in to try it, and then they go right back to what they were doing. So I think the same could probably happen here, but I think that you release a new track, even the people that are trashing this game, if they release a new track, I think people will come back, try the track, and then maybe they'll notice that the physics have been tweaked a little bit. You can mention that. You can mention that the physics have been tweaked, the force feedback has been tweaked, but
At FS Mango Juice said, "Online needs to get fixed ASAP, and or right, that was damaged control, not an apology."
yeah, it was absolutely damage control. I mean, because I do believe that they released that game knowing that the AI was fucked up. So I don't think what they're saying about the AI, I don't think they were caught off guard. Now, I will give them a pass on the online, because when they were, my guess is when they were testing the online, they were probably only testing it with, you know, a couple hundred people that got early access to the game. You know, now that the game's been released, you're potentially exposing the game to a couple million people, being that this game is crossplay. So, and I think the F125 game is probably the only racing game that's absolutely nailed down the crossplay, because Rensport was having problems and they're still trying to fix it, and this game is having problems. I think if they would have released the PC versions and the PC and the console version separately with no crossplay, I think they probably wouldn't have as many online issues as they do now. So I think that's going to take quite a while to fix. And then the other thing, another thing about that is, um, who was talking about the updates? I think it might have been Blown Piston Motorsport. He made a good point that we might have to wait for updates because like on PC, now this is something already new. On PC, they can release the update, the fixes. They can pretty much release as many updates as they want. But that's not the case with console because Aristoteles, who used to be a developer over at Kunos on ACC, the situation that happened over there is when they released ACC, the updated version on console with the 60 frames, 4K, 30 car grids, stuff like that. That game launched
At
with a
Greatentrum 523 said, I heard nothing but great things about this sim. Great F-ups. LOL.
I personally like this game, and this game, I think this game offers me something that few other games do, and I'll come back to that. So to finish what I was saying about Aristoteles of Kunos, when they released the console version of ACC with the 4K 60 HDR 30 car grid, the game was having a lot of problems, and the game was ported from a third party. The game was having a lot of problems, and it was taking a while for these problems to be addressed. So that left people to believe that Kunos did not care about the console version, that they just put it out there and just forgot about it, and that all their focus was on the PC version. And Aristoteles was explaining to people, he said, we have not forgotten about the console people. He said these updates take time. He says because they have to go through a certification process and they cost money. And I said, okay, that makes sense why you don't see near as many updates on console as you do on PC. So the same thing is probably going to happen here. And this is where Blown Piston Motorsport made a good point, that being that this game is crossplay, you can't update the PC version way ahead of the console versions. You can't put out 3-4 updates for the PC version and then only one update for the console version, because the PC is going to be way ahead of the console in terms of the updates, and that could present more problems for the crossplay. So that being said, I think he's basically making a point that over here on PC, we will probably get the updates when the console gets the updates, so they stay one-to-one with each other. So, but I think just telling people you fixed the game isn't going to bring them back. I think you're going to have to draw them back with content. So you put a car on the game that's missing, like this game doesn't have any Ferraris. I think you throw the Ferrari 499 hypercar or the 296 GT3, like you throw one of those cars out there, that's at least going to draw people back where they can say, all right, let me go in here and try out this this Ferrari, and then then you can mention in your footnotes that, yeah, this has been fixed, this has been fixed, this has been fixed. And when they notice
At Greatentrum 523 said, I just saw a clip where someone was wall riding and went extremely fast and passed all the AI with it.
I think I saw that. I saw a clip. I don't know whose video it was. I can't remember the young man's name, but he pointed out how I can't remember which track it was on, but they were wall riding and overtaking other cars. And he said, but he felt like that wasn't exactly ridiculous to see that in a video game, being that it happened in real life in that NASCAR race, I think a year or two ago, where a guy was wall riding and he ended up finishing the race, and he just made the cut for the playoffs. So So yeah, I think that might be all I got. Um, Now as far as what the game offers me, like for starters, I think across the board, I think this game feels like a cross between Automobilista 2 and Project Cars 2. Because yes, the physics do feel a little bit slidey, floaty, but I'm used to it from Automobilista 2. But I'm still looking forward to the VR. And once we get
At FS Mango Juice said, for the amount of money that they charging for this game should have never had came out. I was one that was looking forward to this game. I haven't bought it yet.
Honestly, I was looking forward to this game, but probably for a different reason. Because Le Mans Ultimate is still my favorite game. But I don't like the state of Le Mans Ultimate right now. The driving is just so atrocious in that game that I put it on the same ball field with GT7. I mean, like, that's the biggest reason why I stopped playing GT7 or I do it at a minimal pace, because I've had all I can take with the dirty driving on GT7. And Le Mans Ultimate hasn't reached that point yet, but it's getting there. And so the reason that I was looking forward to Project Motor Racing, actually, I expect the driving to be worse on Project Motor Racing because it's crossplay. That means there's going to be console players on there using controllers, and there's probably going to be kids on there just going out of their way to destroy races and all that shit. But the biggest reason why I was looking forward to Project Motor Racing is the ability to race some of these older classes in VR, the Group C's, the GT1s, the GTEs, because not too many games offer that for me to be able to race those older classes in VR. The other reason I was looking forward to it is it's a win-win situation because we've got all these racing games that are out right now. We got a
At FS Mango Juice said, at best, this is a $29.99 game LOL.
Okay, I'll get to that in a second. What I think this game should cost, but to finish what I was saying is we got a lot of games to choose from right now. You know, we still got Race Room, ACC, even though that's dead. Le Mans Ultimate. Now we got Project Motor Racing, Ren Sport, F125, NASCAR, Endurance Motor Series is still coming out. I mean, that's 8 games that I ran off the top of my head, and there's still a couple that I forgot to mention. I think like R Factor 2 and Forza Motorsports and GT7 for that matter. Now I think I just ran off like 10 games. The more racing games we get, the more it spreads out the user base. And in my opinion, that means the less dirty driving we inquire across the board. So, if I've talked about this before, with when a game becomes popular, it draws in the big YouTubers and the big Twitch streamers, and then it draws in the dirty drivers right behind them. So to me, it seems like the dirty drivers and the idiots, they follow the big YouTubers. Where the YouTubers go, that's where they go. And so it happened with ACC, and now it's happening with Le Mans Ultimate. When ACC got popular and it was regarded as the cream of the crop, then the big YouTubers were over there, and then the dirty drivers and the idiots had started making their way over there. Now it's happening with Le Mans Ultimate. Once Le Mans Ultimate got the GT3s, the games absolutely exploded. And that brought the big name YouTubers over there, and now it brought the dirty drivers over there, because I was one of the guys that was a day one adopter of Le Mans Ultimate, and the game was a gentleman's game when it first came out. People respected each other. They weren't knocking each other off the track and taking stupid chances. But now it's just total chaos with that game. So in comes Project Motor Racing. If the game would have launched as a success and it would have gained popularity and some of the big YouTubers would have came over here to play this game, it would have drawn some of the dirty drivers over here with them, but that means there's less of them over there on Le Mans Ultimate. So the races would be more enjoyable. But being that this game is not in a good state and the popular YouTubers are not coming over here, that means aside from the console racers, there's going to be less dirty drivers over here, and I have the option to turn the crossplay off. So since they're going to be less dirty drivers over here on the PC side, I can have some nice competitive and enjoyable races, because as of right now, I'm getting the most most enjoyment out of Race Room. The races may not, in terms of competitiveness, maybe not quite on the level of Le Mans Ultimate or iRacing, but the races are still competitive and it's still clean. So I think, and what this game offers me is very niche. I think, you know, the GT3 and the hypercar class are more than likely probably still going to be the most popular classes in this game. I'll do some of it, but it won't be the feature of what I want to do here. The classes that I want to race the most are again the GTE, the GTs, the Group Cs, because I'm starting to fall more and more in love with these older cars, especially like the GTs, like that Aston Martin DBR9. I love that car on both Automobilista 2 and over here, because those are cars that you can see where technology was starting to be an important part of the car, but the core of the car was still horsepower. I mean, like with the base shakers on my rig, like that, those GT1 cars on Automobilista 2 just feel like just raw horsepower, just raw horses. So they are an absolute thrill to drive. I absolutely love it, and I like them over here on Project Motor Racing. So to be able to race those cars in VR in actual ranked races is what this game is offering me, because Automobilista 2 has the cars, but they don't have ranked races, and that's, to me, that's the killer with Automobilista 2. So that's what this game offers me. A lot of the same cars that you see on Automobilista 2, but the ability to be able to race them in ranked races. So yeah, I'm sticking with this game. So yeah, the developers were a little bit disingenuous with the AI, maybe a little bit disingenuous with the physics and the handling. But I still like this game enough that I'm going to stick with it, and I'm definitely looking forward to the VR. Now to come back about what this game should cost. I personally think that I kind of think they disrespected the console players. You know, they made this game $60 on PC and made it $70 on console. And the game doesn't look as good on PC, and then you still have to pay to play online. On PlayStation, you still need PlayStation Plus, which currently is $80 a year. And then over on the Xbox side, at the very least, you need Game Pass Core in order to play online, which I believe is $12 a month, which comes out to be like about $140 a year. So I think that's kind of a slap in the face to the console players for this game to be $70 and it be $60 on PC. If anything, I feel like this game probably should have been $50 on console. But I think in terms of the content that they offer you, the amount of tracks and cars that they offer you, I think that alone, I think is worth the $60 that I paid, because there's a lot of cars to choose from, and I'm especially excited that they gave us the GTE class as a pre-order bonus, and that's the biggest reason why I got this game day one, was because of the GTE class. Otherwise, I would have waited until the VR was ready to buy this game. And they gave us 6 GTE cars as a pre-order bonus, whereas other games like Le Mans Ultimate, they have 4 GTE cars. Most notably missing from that is the Ford GT, which they have over here on this game, and the BMW M.8, which they have over here on this game. So yeah, between this game and Le Mans Ultimate, I have all the GTE cars I want. So, because that's my favorite class. So, the broken state that this game released in, or at least issues with the online, they probably should have called it early access, and I think they probably should have charged $40 for it. I think the biggest reason why they didn't do early access with this game is because it's pretty much no early access on console. I don't think they wanted to take the hit of possibly charging people $40 on console, and then when the game releases, have a situation where, okay, the game's out of early access, it's full release now, and you got to pay an extra 20 or 30 bucks to match what a full release would cost. So I think they just waited, picked the date. This is what we're going to release it at, and we're going to release it at full price. So I think that's probably what they should have done. They probably should have released it in early access on PC, get whatever money they can out of it, fix the problems, and then do a full release, and then you can charge the people over on console $70. But yeah, this is I think the road to redemption for this game is probably going to be a long one, but you know, I'm here for it. So I think that is all I got, and I think I think we can go ahead and jump into some races, do a few laps. So I guess let's start by having a look at the multiplayer. Jeez, once again, only one person registered for this. Now this race was a hard one because I did it.
At Greatentrum 523 said, "Let's make PMR No Man's Sky again."
It can happen. But you know what? It's funny that you mentioned that, because No Man's Sky kind of did the same thing that this game did. They made it seem like this game was going to be like no other, and whatever they offered the game, whatever the game offered it was different from any other game in its genre, was overshadowed by the problems that this game had. And I think this game is probably the Mount Rushmore of games that started in a shitty state, but they bounced back to make it a highly played game, especially when they added the VR to it. I think that was huge. Damn, look at these lobbies. Nothing. Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and do some single player stuff. And unfortunately, with the single player shit, I am not going to do the career part until they fix the AI, because that is crucial to the career part of this game. Because with the career part, you have to pay a championship entry fee. You have to pay entry fees for each individual race. You start out with a budget. You choose different sponsorships, and if you choose a sponsorship that doesn't cover the damage, if the car gets damaged, it gets deducted from your pay. And so with the AI being as reckless as it is, you are definitely going to take on some damage throughout your campaign on this game. And so because of that, I chose the sponsorship that's called Aggressive, where the sponsors pay for all the damage that happens to the car, but in return they take a piece of my championship money at the end of the season. So, but if you choose a sponsorship where you got to pay for your own damages, and the AI takes you out, send you into the wall, and the car is totally damaged, and you might be looking at $300,000 worth of repairs or something like that. You may not even have that much money, in your bank. So that being said, I'm not gonna do the career mode until they do something with that AI.
At GameGist20318 said, online peak is at 8 p.m. said, a lot of more lobbies, also people are wait for rank to be fixed.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I know that's the big problem with it is. And then I don't know what the situation is on the Xbox side, to tell you the truth, because I had, like, when the game launched.
At GameGist20318 said, I guessed.
I agree. When the game first launched, I understand, through their apology letter, people were having problems with the Xbox version of the game. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff. There's a couple of variables why these multiplayer lobbies don't look very good. But on a positive note, for me, I'm off work till Tuesday for the holiday. So I'm going to be playing this game a lot. I'm going to be streaming a lot over the holiday. Tomorrow, my teammate and I, Hanez Katone, we're supposed to be doing the 2.4 hours of Le Mans on Le Mans Ultimate. And then I think on Saturday, I will be doing the 1 hour weekly race on Race Room. And as far as this game goes, I'm definitely going to be streaming it. But there's a trade-off between streaming it at this PC and streaming it on my PC with the 4090. Streaming it with my PC on the 4090 would be the best option, because naturally the game's going to run best. And then my rig is over there with my Fanatec wheelbase, and I've got base shakers on the rig, so I feel all the vibrations, the car RPMs, the road details. I feel all that. But I don't know. I think I'm getting the impression that streaming the game over here on this PC, on my streaming PC with this 3070 Ti, I think it might resonate with more people, because I think more people might have a PC along those specs, and I think they want to get an idea of whether their PC can handle this game or not, should they decide to buy it. So, but the trade-off over here is that I'm on my Logitech wheelbase, and so I am not sitting in a cockpit. I am sitting on a lawn chair at a table, a folding table, with my Logitech wheelbase clamped to the table. But a wheelbase like a Logitech G923, there's no way you're supposed to be putting that on a $1,000 rig. That thing is made for a table, and that's what I'm using it for. Class, let's it's cool to use the especially for single player. It's cool if I want to use the GT3s. All these cars sound good, and that's one of the things I always take with me about this game, is that most of the cars sound good. You know what? Okay, so the GTE class is my favorite class. Here you got 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait a minute, looks like you got 7 cars. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cars.
Said, I think the PC specs is the least of people's worries in a sense, as there's many other avenues right now that point in the direction of not to buy.
I would agree with that, but the reason why I brought up my PC specs as a possible factor as to why, because the crazy part about it is I don't even have a cam turned on over here on this PC, and I expected it to have less viewers because of that. Because one thing that's kind of been the unwritten rule about streaming a sim racing game is that less people will watch you if you don't have the camera turned on. I don't have a camera turned on because I'm in my bedroom. But I mean, I don't disagree with your point, but the reason why I brought up my PC specs as a possible reason why I might be getting a little bit more views over here versus on my 4090 is leading up to the release of this game. when a lot of YouTubers, the game was crashing on them. And I mean, for some of them, the game didn't even, like, the game wouldn't even run 15 minutes before it would crash again. And it was always coming in the chats. People were always asking, what's your PC specs? What's your GPU? That kind of stuff. So I think people want to know what what you're using. You know, I mean, hell, yesterday's streams.
At Nervsa said, I feel that goes hand in hand with any sort of streaming, but yeah, I get you.
Totally. So, and I found that kind of happened with Le Mans Ultimate. When Le Mans Ultimate first launched, the game was crashing for a lot of people, and then the VR was hidden. It was not it wasn't publicly available, but I was still able to access a hidden VR. And I was always streaming the game in VR, even though it was not optimized, and even though I couldn't go online with it. And I actually believe that the devs popped into my stream a couple of times and was asking me, what's your specs? Can you show us your settings? Can you run it, on Epic? So I was doing all that stuff for them. I was running the game on Epic because, like, at that point, I think I think what it was is...
At Nervsa said, I feel like they have different versions depending on platform, which is breaking the entire game. Trying to connect to these cross-platform lobbies when you're on PoiSubkey slightly version of Code Yano?
I can agree with that. I mean, they've got a... There's... When you factor into PS5, the
At
Xbox...
Nervsa said, sorry.
Oh, no problem. When you factor in PC, PS5, and Xbox...
At Nervsa said, I feel like I keep cutting you off, haha.
No problem. I actually like the engagement. And that's why I have speech chat engaged, why I have it turned on, because I normally race in VR. And what I used to do was I used to pop a chat window open inside the VR headset, and then whenever I'd see a comment pop up, I would try to read it, but that would take my eyes off of the track, and I would end up flying off the track and hitting the wall. So I enabled speech chat so people can make the comments and I can hear it and still concentrate on the road, so I can still answer people's questions. So, if you want to conversate, fire away. I enjoy the engagement. I think that's one of the things I like about having a smaller channel, is that the comments can come in regular enough that I can engage in conversation, but not be overwhelmed like these channels that's got a couple 100,000 subs, where it's just constantly scrolling, where the comments look like a TV show that's showing closing
At
credits.
Nervsa said, yeah, but you'll get halfway through a point and then I'm disrupting your thought process, haha.
No, don't worry about that, because I'm fairly good at keeping, like, holding a thought, letting you get your comment in, and then going back to finish my point, and then come back and answer your comments. So no, don't feel bad about that at all. You're fine. If you want to have a conversation, type away. So yeah, I think I was pointing out that the GTE class, they've got 7 cars here. 7 cars. And on other games like Le Mans Ultimate, they only have 4 cars. They don't have this Ford GT. They don't have this Viper. They don't have the Corvette C7. They don't have the this M8 BMW. But they do have the Ferrari 488, and that's what's missing.
Said, okay, my man, appreciate it.
Oh yeah, no problem. So yeah, I definitely enjoy the conversation. Oh yeah, here we go. This car right here, the Porsche 911 RSR, Automobile Lister 2 has the best sounding version of this car, hands down.
At Nervsa said, that Porsche GTE drives very nice, to be fair, try it if you haven't.
No, we're gonna give it a try right now, because I want to hear it. I want to hear how it sounds, because like, That's probably the biggest enjoyment I'm getting out of this game right now, is how good most of the cars sound. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I'm going to put a link in the chat. There was a video from a channel called Abnormal Gaming, and this channel puts out sim racing comparisons, you know, LMU versus GT7, where they'll take the exact same car so you can see the GT version of it, GT7 version of it in Le Mans Ultimate. And the video that I'm going to put the link in the chat for, they were comparing Project Motor Racing to Le Mans Ultimate. And visually, there were some parts of Project Motor Racing that looked better than Le Mans Ultimate.
Said, what's your main sim normally?
Le Mans Ultimate. Le Mans Ultimate is my main sim. It's my favorite sim. It's a sim that I believed in day one. And the biggest reason why I believed in Le Mans Ultimate right from the get-go is because the 24 hours of Le Mans is my favorite race in the entire world. So the first time I played, I would say the first time I played GT Sport in VR on the original PSVR 1, even though it was only time trial, it was still a dream come true because I was able to race on my favorite track in VR where I'm actually sitting in the car. But then Project Cars 2 expanded on that dream because now I'm on my favorite track.
At Rizar_racing said, hi.
Rizar, how's it going?
At Nervza said, they doing that for the multiplayer event soon, right?
Yes, this weekend.
24 HRLE mans.
Yeah, they're actually doing two events. One is a 2.4 hour event, which is 2 hours and 44 minutes. The other one is an actual 24-hour race. That's going to be grueling. We do have a team. We do have a racing team on Le Mans Ultimate. We are called the VR Vikings. And the reason our team is unique, in my opinion, because I believe we are the only all VR team on Le Mans
At
Ultimate.
Rizar_racing said, working my night, how about you?
I've already worked. I'm off till Tuesday, so I'm chilling and enjoying it. But yeah, we are the only all VR Vikings team. We are the only all VR racing team on Le Mans Ultimate that I know of. So everybody on our team races in VR. There's 3 of us. But the 24 hours of Le Mans coming up this weekend, if we were to do that race, I wanted to add a 4th person to that team, but
At Nervza said, I'm hoping this is their last test before releasing the endurance package to custom lobbies. At Nervza said, AHH wicked, that's awesome. All racing in VR as one team is cool.
Yep. So if we bring any other people onto our team, they have to race in VR because that's the whole purpose of the VR Vikings. Now I did speak to one of my teammates about possibly adding a 4th person for 24-hour races, and he kind of was against it because he wanted the challenge of 3 people doing a 24-hour race, which would be 3 people split up driving 8 hours each, which I know that's going to be grueling because when we did the 6 hours of Fuji, my teammate got sick. So out of those 6 hours, I drove 5 of it. No, that was the 6 hours of Coda. But when we did the 6 hours of Fuji, my teammate had connection issues. So out of those 6 hours, I drove 4 of it. Let me see. What am I going to pick for a track?
At Nervza said, I'm on triples myself. Yeah, that's a lot of driving, but you get good breaks in between.
Yeah, that's true. Like the way when I team up with my team, we try to do it in double stints, like 2 hours each, so people get adequate time to rest.
Said, longest race I've done is 12 HRS.
Well, it would have been 8 hours for us. They had the 8 hours of Bahrain, a couple of weeks ago, but I got taken out on lap one. This guy dive bombed underneath me. He pushed me into another car and nearly caused a huge pileup. And I got upset and tried to squeeze him up against the wall, and he pit maneuvered me. He slowed down to let me get in front of him, and then he touched my bumper and spun me around and sent me into the wall, and the car was destroyed. My race was over. And this was we were only 20 minutes into the race. Now the car was destroyed, but I was able to make it back to the pits and get repairs. And then from there, I drove another 2 hours because I wanted to show everybody that I had the pace. And so I was like, I must have overtook, I don't know, I probably overtook about 10, 15 cars before I finally retired the car. Now, you know what?
At Greatentrum523 said, are you seeing how the game performs on different PCs and hardware?
Yeah, that's the, like, cause I've got 4 PCs. One of them isn't being used. That one has a 2070 in it, and I don't see any point in hooking that one up. But I am going to upgrade that PC. I'm going to put a 3070 in it because the situation with that PC
At Nervsit said, Bahrain. What a track. Love it. You driving GT3 with your team?
Yeah, absolutely.
There needs to be big penalties for destroying someone endurance race so early. The practice and prep people may put into them, Yano.
Okay, now the comment about the PC specs, I'm going to come back to that in a second.
Said, 4 computers FFS rolling on the floor laughing, rolling on the floor laughing, rolling on the floor laughing.
I actually got 6 computers. The reason why I said 4 is because 4 of those PCs are gaming PCs. The other 2 PCs are in my closet. They are office PCs that are like 15 years old that I haven't thrown in the trash yet. One reason is because they still have pictures that I want to retrieve and put them on a flash drive, but I just been too lazy to do it. But yeah, I got 4 PCs, you know, in as far
as Nervsit said, 6 rolling on the floor laughing.
Yeah. Now, the gaming PCs, the graphics cards goes as follow. My weakest PC has a 2070. There's the PC that I'm sitting at right now that has a 3070 Ti, and then my secondary PC has a 3080 Ti in it. That PC I don't really use. My son uses it when it comes over. I kind of built that PC for him because when I first started getting into PC gaming, when my son came over on the weekends, we were having to split the same computer. So from there, I started building a second PC and a third PC and a fourth PC. So the 3080 Ti PC, that's pretty much for my son. I'll use it when I need to test games, but for the most part, that PC is for my son. So when he comes over, he can do his thing and we don't get in each other's way. And then the PC that I do like most of my racing on, that one has a 4090 in it. Now the PC that has a 2070 in it, I'm actually getting ready to upgrade that one to a 3070 because my son's PC had a 3070 in it, but I bought him a 5070, so I upgraded his PC. He no longer has any use for the 3070, so I'm going to take that 3070 and put it in the PC that has a 2070 in it. And then I'm going to run some benchmarks and stuff like that and see what that PC is capable of. And once I do that, I'll get back with you guys and let you know how that PC ran so you guys can kind of gauge, okay, if I want to build my first PC, what should be the minimum specs? And that's one of the reasons why I've been putting the PC.
At Nervsit said, that's a beefy PC for your boy. A nice man. 4090 is a beast.
The 4090.
I've got the 5070 Ti.
Okay, my son's got the 5070.
523 said, I'm on a 5070 Ti myself.
I see. The 5070 that I bought my son, when I watch some benchmark videos, the 5070 is about the equivalent of a 3080 Ti. The 3080 Ti is still a magnificent GPU, even in today's, even with today's PCs. The only drawback to the 3000 cards is that they pour out a lot of heat. this 3070 Ti that I'm sitting at and my 3080 Ti, they both pour out a lot of heat if you play games that are demanding. I mean, it's like a fucking furnace inside this bedroom. But coming back to my son's PC, I bought him a 5070, and I didn't see the point of going any higher than that. It's because the 5070 is the equivalent of a 3080 Ti, and then you've got multi-frame generation, which, you know, reduces stress even more. So
At Nervsa said, this game easily runs on the 5070 Ti. Was getting 90 FPS while streaming Discord on high graphics. I'm not on a X3D chip either.
And to add to what you just said, that's another reason why I put the PC spec in the title, that it's a 3070. So showing you guys right here what my setting is. My graphical setting, I got it on quality. So right here, high, very high, ultra, all this stuff. And then I'm still streaming from this same PC. And anybody knows anything about OBS, it taxes your PC. Graphically, OBS can take as much as 20% of your graphics card. Now, in all fairness, I've got the resolution set to 1080p. I have not attempted to go any higher with the resolution. I really don't have any interest in it because I'm more concerned about the game running good, more so than how it looks. Especially when the VR comes to this game, especially for this PC, I'm definitely gonna have to play around with the settings. But with my 4090, nah, it'll take whatever I throw at it. I can set it at whatever I want. So somebody
At Nervsa said, let's see if in action face with monocle.
Yeah, let's see it in action. So yeah, I was getting set. Let's go ahead. Now, in order to save resources, I think I'm only running this with 15 or 20 cars.
At Nervsa said, I want to get the highest spec card from Nvidia one day, that's for sure. At Greatentrum 523 said, I have a question. Does it matter to have the Windows OS at 1080p when you play games? My OS desktop is currently at 4K.
I think it makes a huge difference.
At Nervsa said, NA it will downscale Greatentrum.
So, like, using my 4090 for an example, I've got the PC's native resolution set to 1080p. But my VR headset, when I race in VR, I've got that resolution upscaled to like 3400p. In-game graphical settings, I usually run them at medium or even high. And I still got plenty of overhead left. You know, I still have like 45% of overhead left to play with. But if I would have set the native resolution of the game to 4K and I'm running it in VR at 3400p, then yeah, it'll tax the shit out of the PC. This is a night race, so this is going to tax the PC a little bit more. And looking at the standings, so you guys see I've got 16 cars on here, and it is a night race, and I have OBS open, so OBS does tax the PC a little bit. This is a night race. Let's see how it runs. And let's get straight to the race.
Not ideal, mate. There's gonna be a mess in front of us.
Let's go. And let's hear how this Porsche sounds.
At Greatentrum 523 said, Oh, so it matters to have the game run at 1080p so you can have more resolution overhead for the VR.
Yeah, absolutely.
At Nervesiv said, was that a crowd member on top of the roof of the paddock? WTF, haha.
I wasn't paying attention to that. But as you guys can see, it is running good. I like the small details, like how these cars are flicking rocks and chunk tires at you. Let me know what the volume's like. If the volume's not loud enough, I'll turn it back up. Because I did turn the game volume down a little bit because I didn't want to have to shout over the top of the game.
At Greatentrum 523 said, it's running at night, which usually is more demanding.
Yeah, and you see how good it's running. And look at the lighting. Actually, the lighting's decent. Like, look at the lightings of the cars in front of me. Ah.
At Big Rock 18 said, volume is cool.
Okay, cool,
At
thank you.
Said, I honestly believe the standard settings for everything within PMR just ain't helped them. Anyone who doesn't fiddle with stuff just think this is the best graphics, as some of the videos I've seen. At Nervesiv said, are wild as hell with how the game looks, but they haven't changed their settings at all.
Oh shoot, I gotta slow down. You know, and I got the graphical settings on quality. So everything's, this is a night race. I've got 16 cars rendered, including myself. And everything's turned up high. You know, it's either turned up to high or epic. And I believe the frame rate is native. I don't think I have DLSS turned on. Settings. Let me see if the DLSS is turned on. Display settings, vertical sync is turned off. Now, I did turn the menu frame limit down to 30 frames a second. I don't see any need to have the menus running at 60 frames per second. Let me see here. DLSS is off. DLSS frame generation is off. FSX, all that stuff is off. So, and then you see right here.
At Nervesiv said, yeah, and AI is way more taxing than multiplayer.
Yeah. And so right here, the screen space reflections and shadows and stuff like that, I don't know how crucial that is. But you can see right here, high, very high. Okay, that's at very high. And there's some things that's at ultra. Now, if you guys want me to, I just put it on ultra. So if you want to see what happens, I can, yeah, let's do that. Let's leave it on ultra and see what happens. Hopefully it won't crash the game. Hopefully it won't crash the computer. So let's restart the race. All right, folks, we are at ultra settings across the board. No, you know what? Let me go back, being that I got it on ultra settings. Let me see if the DLSS is on. Nope, DLSS is off. All right, so here we go. Let's see what we got.
At Nervesiv said, At least if it blows up your PC, you've got another 3 to choose from: rolling on the floor laughing, rolling on the floor laughing.
Look at this, it's running good. But I believe it or not, look at that, all those rocks and stuff flicking.
At Greatentrum 523 said, LOL. At Greatentrum 523 said, that is good. Absolutely playable.
Yep, this is on the 3070. So all those people, like I've seen some YouTubers where the game was crashing on them, but some of them had 3080s. Now to their credit, they were playing that that earlier build that was only available to to YouTubers that had early access. They were playing a different build versus the day one build. Car sounds pretty good.
At Greatentrum 523 said, and if you need more, you can turn on DLSS and frame gen.
Absolutely, but I prefer native frames over DLSS.
At Nervesit said, visually for me it's just the replays that suck at the moment, but the devs are aware and will be fixing. I think they're capped at 30 FPS.
Oh yeah, yeah, I would definitely want to see the replays at 60. And the game's got good lighting. One thing that I noticed about this game, that like there's floodlights all over the track.
At Nervesit said, yeah, I don't like DLSS or frame gen.
Yeah, definitely. Like you see those like floodlights around the track that's powered by the generators. Le Mans Ultimate doesn't have that.
Said, I think that's why they look so bad.
I can agree with that.
You've got a track limit violation.
Grass actually looks pretty good. That brings me back to I'll come back and do a different race here in a second. That brings me back to the link that I meant to put.
At Nervesit said, these track limits are comedy too, haha.
Actually, I like it. Okay, now it looks like the stream is starting to buffer a little bit. Okay, now it looks like the stream is starting to buffer a little bit. Okay, looks like we're good.
At Greatentrum523 said, GT7 in some tracks have no lights for night racing.
Exactly.
But I found out GT7 uses backlighting and they would have to program all that in. Which is why some tracks look like they did not pay electric.
Yeah, exactly. Some of those, same thing with ACC, with Assetto Corsa Competizione. Some of those tracks were pitch black. The only time you saw lights is when you were passing the start-finish line where all the stands were at. Now, this is some other small details that this game doesn't get any credit for. The crowd in this game is alive. They have moving figures in the stands, whereas games like Automobilista 2 and Le Mans Ultimate, they have those 2D cutouts up in the stands and not 3D figures that's actually moving around. You just got people, you know, just cutouts that look like posters. So the crowd is alive. Something else that I noticed is the grass looks like grass, whereas on Le Mans Ultimate, the grass looks like green carpet. You don't really see any blades of grass. So let me put the link in the description for you guys for this video. So the crowd is alive. Oh, sorry about that. Here, so let me put this in the chat. Shoot. Let me try this again. See if it'll let me do it. So give me a second, folks. See if I copy this again. Copy link. And then come back to my own stream and see if I can put it in the chat. Yep, there we go. That's the link right there to the video that I was talking about of Le Mans Ultimate versus Project Motor Racing.
Lincoln Clay said, https://udo.be/AIIPOM03U?SI=PCIDJ2PyTDHSVOT.
Check that video out and you will actually see some parts of Project Motor Racing that actually looks better than Le Mans Ultimate, believe it or not. Start time. So we'll go back to a day race. So, but you guys get it now. That's why I put the specs of this PC in the title. So for those that's got a PC that's around the 3070 Ti, and you're wondering if your PC will be able to run this game, this stream gives you a gauge that yes, it should run it. Now, when the VR comes out, that's going to be a different story because we don't know how well the VR is going to be optimized.
At Greatentrum523 said, I'll take a look.
Yep. Now with the 4GT, we got to go with the right colors. Tracks. Yeah, let's give old Sebring a look. I do think the loading screens might be taxing the PC a little bit. So I'm watching the stream. Actually, let me do something a little bit different here. I'll be ready here in a second, folks. Just waiting for something to show up on my phone. Okay. All right, let's do a few laps. In the Ford GT, one of my favorite cars.
Not ideal, mate. There's gonna be a mess in front.
Take a quick look at some of these cars here. So in this GTE class, I like all the cars, but the Corvette, C8, and the Ford GT would probably be my main cars. All right, let's go. Look at the cars flicking rocks and I shouldn't have been able to save that, but look at the rocks and the rubber chunk that it throws at you. I like that detail too. Look at that detail, all those rocks and stuff getting thrown at me. Nice detail. Nice attention to detail.
At George Summer 536 said, "It isn't that good detail since this shit doesn't land on racing line usually, not in this volume for sure." At George Summer 536 said. And here it is randomly spread across whole track for no reason.
I think it's still a nice touch though, even if the rocks and rubber chunks aren't on, even if they aren't in the right spot. I mean, I still think it's a nice touch. I shouldn't have been able to save that. That would have been Le Mans Ultimate. That car would have been gone.
At Greydentrum523 said, PMR does go toe-to-toe with LMU. The grass looks better and the dirt, but I think the rain is better on LMU.
Oh, okay. I think it was tit for tat. I think there was some areas, because I'm guessing maybe you took a look at the video that I put in the chat. Oh shit. All right, let me go ahead and go back to
Greydentrum523 said, especially when in cockpit where you can see the rain come into the car, whereas LMU doesn't do that.
From the cockpit, I think the rain looked better on Project Motor Racing. At night, especially on that spa clip, I thought the night looked better on Project Motor Racing because there was floodlights along the track. Whereas then, like, you can see some of the lights on LMU, the lights on some of them weren't turned on. Whereas on Project Motor Racing, all the lights, all the floodlights, everything was turned on. So the track looked well lit on Project Motor Racing, whereas some parts of Le Mans Ultimate, it was pitch black. Now, on the replay cam, I will admit that Le Mans Ultimate, the headlights look super bright. Look really bright on Le Mans Ultimate. So that's one of the areas where they got Project Motor Racing. The grass, yeah, Project Motor Racing gets the grass. The crowd, now there's less people in the stands, but at least they're alive. The people are moving in the stands, whereas there's more people in the stands on Le Mans Ultimate.
At Greydentrum523 said, if you turn on rain, PMR has rain that come into the car.
Really? If that's in the video, I'm going to have to go back and watch that. Already did Zolder. Let's have a look at Donington. And for this, I want to hear the different engines. Let's go with the Corvette C7.
At Greydentrum523 said, but PMR at most part looks as good if not better than LMU.
Okay. Yeah, I can't argue for or against that. Because I think that's all in the eyes of the beholder. Graphically, I guess I have to look at them more to decide which one looks better graphically. But I think in that video, the Le Mans Ultimate, the picture might have been a little bit sharper in Le Mans Ultimate. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, the graphics are not dog shit the way people make it out to sound. And it's like I said yesterday, graphically, the graphics aren't revolutionary, but they're not bad either. The graphics are good, in fact. Listen to that rumble.
you've got some tricks up your sleeve because we're starting from the back.
Yeah.
At Greatentrum 523 said, I mean, the grass, the people, the textures, lighting looks better on PMR.
I can agree with that. I can agree with that. The grass, as a matter of fact, the only racing game, in my opinion, that might have grass equivalent to this might be F125. All the other games, they either have green carpet or they have green carpet with a few blades of grass here and a few blades of grass here. This game right here in F125 are the only games that I've seen where the grass actually looks like a full lawn of grass, so much to the point where some people criticized it and said that the grass should have been cut in the game. So I think I would take that as a backhanded compliment.
At said, how do you rate the game so far compared to other games?
Okay, let me do a lap, because I just want to hear this Corvette rumble for a second, and then I'll answer that question.
At Greatentrum 523 said, that must be the farming simulator engine, why the grass is top notch.
Yeah, it
LOL.
could be. Ooh. Ooh.
Track limit violation.
Damn, I just knocked that tire barrier clean off its spot. Okay, I'll come back, and I just wanted to hear that Corvette rumble for a second. I'm going to switch over to another track where I know I can do better, maybe Monza or something. But let me back out of this and then answer your question about how do I rate this game.
At Greatentrum 523 said, that happened.
Yeah. Okay, so compared to other games, this game's probably never going to be on the level of iRacing, because iRacing is still the king of sims. I think Le Mans Ultimate is more and more becoming the de facto sim for endurance racing. Because like right now, iRacing does it all. But once they get all this shit worked out with the driver swaps and stuff like that, and they have the first official virtual 24 hours of Le Mans, which is endorsed and supported by the WEC, I think they're going to be the de facto sim for endurance racing for the, for the 4, 8, 12, 24 hour races. For me, this game feels more like Project Cars 2 and Automobile Listed 2. The difference is it has ranked racing, and that's the biggest, and that's the biggest takeaway I take from the two. Now, I still got to wait on the VR and see how the VR turns out. So, how's it compare to other games? It's hard to answer that question with one general answer because each game I think has its positives and negatives. But I think to give my general thought on the game in terms of putting a number on the board, yesterday I gave this game a 7.5, and I still stick with that. I like this game. Being able to race the older classes in ranked races in VR, that's going to give me a value that I don't get from very many other games. You know, like LMU doesn't have any older classes, which is something that they should do. They've talked about adding, you know, historic tracks and cars and stuff like that from the years past of Le Mans, which I think would be a huge addition if they went down that route. I still stick by my overall number of 7.5, but I think it has the potential to be an 8 once they get this cross-play and online all sorted out, and once we get the VR, depending on how well the VR looks and how well it runs. So, all in all, I like the game. I think the graphics are good. I think the audio is actually one of the better features of this game. Is I think most of the cars sound good. As far as the audio goes, the only thing I knocked them for is that most of the cars sound the same on the inside and the outside. Whereas a lot of other games, what the car sounds like on the inside and what it sounds like on the outside is totally different. So that would be my only knock on the audio. But other than that, especially in the cockpit, I think when it comes to cockpit inside the cars, I think ACC, Assetto Corsa Competizione, Automobilista 2, and now Project Motor Racing games, I think across the board, out of the games that I've played, I think they have the best sounding cars across the board. I haven't played enough of iRacing to judge iRacing, but this is based on the games that I've played. So yeah, I would say in no particular order, but ACC, Automobilista 2, and Project Motor Racing, I think have the best car audio as far as in the cockpit. Let's go to Brianza. Boy, they did a slick move with that. They obviously don't got the license from Monza, so they're calling it Brianza. And I do like the selection of GT3s. They pretty much have the same selection of cars as Le Mans Ultimate, with the exception of the Ferrari and the Lexus. But I think they got all the other cars. And they even got a couple of cars that Le Mans Ultimate doesn't have, because those cars don't race in the WEC. And that would be this Acura NSX, this Audi R8. Yeah, so I think they got a good selection of GT3s. And they all sound good. This GTO class doesn't do anything for me, but it's cool that it's there.
At Greatentrum523 said, I saw some Jimmy Broadbent videos and the man is very disappointed with PMR. Jardier feels betrayed. Your thoughts on those guys?
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Well, as far as Jardier being betrayed, because I watched some of that video, and right out the gate, he had already said that because Ian Bell is head of this project or head of this studio, that developed this game, he was already apprehensive. So what I'm trying to say is, if you were already distrustful of the person in charge of this project, how could you feel betrayed if you don't trust them in the first place? And then the other thing is, his criticism of the game, I don't know if it's genuine or because of the NDA that they tried to put him under. Because what I ended up finding out through somebody else's video is they didn't like, some of the creators did not like the NDA that they were put under. I get the impression that they were allowed to play the game and stream the game and even make videos about the game, but they were not allowed to give the game a review. So from one video that I saw, the way he made it sound, it was almost like the developers were trying to get the streamers to make it seem like they were having an absolute blast with the game, but they still couldn't give it a review. So some of them waited until the game came out to give it a review. So because of that NBA, because of the non-disclosure agreement that they were under, Jardier didn't like it, so he didn't participate in the early access. You know, because for some people, they got hundreds and thousands of views because they had early access to the game. They had access to the game before we did. So like I said, I kind of question, how can you feel betrayed if you didn't trust them in the first place? Jimmy Broadbent? I haven't seen his video yet, to tell you the truth, because honestly, when it became obvious that this game was headed towards a negative trajectory, and then I was starting to see more and more and more and more negative videos and reviews and streams, I actually started getting tired of it, because I don't think this game is near as bad as some people makes it sound. I actually still think it's a good game. I mean, going all the way back to ACC, which game has not released with any issues? I mean, Forza was a complete disaster when that game released. All the bragging that they did about the graphics, the ray tracing, the reflections, and then trying to say that this was going to be a simulator and not a simcade, and I get on the game and it's crashing. The textures haven't populated yet, so I'm driving down the track, and the track all of a sudden turns black, and I'm driving across a black sheet with trees on the side. So I mean, that was a complete disaster. So the criticism that Forza got was deserved. I think the criticism that Rensport got, I think they should have got more criticism. I think they got off kind of light, to tell you the truth. This game, on the other hand, I think the criticism was, I think it was a little bit harsh. They deserved some of it by being misleading, but I don't think it's as bad as people makes it sound. So, short story long, I just got sick of all these videos coming across my time like, what a disaster, pile of shit, this, that, you know, all these negative titles on this game. It got on my nerves seeing it. So by the time Jimmy Broadbent's video popped up on my timeline, I didn't even want to watch it. Because I'm like, I already know what he's going to say. They promised this, they promised that. But we didn't, but what we got was this, what we got was that. The online is terrible. The force feedback is terrible. The physics are terrible. You know, the same shit that I've been hearing from everybody else. So, I didn't care if it's Jimmy Broadbent or not. I just wasn't interested in watching the video. So, and I kind of didn't see any point at that point, in addition to the shit getting on my nerves. Also didn't see any point in going any further of watching some of these negative videos and shit like that if it's not going to change my opinion of the game and it's not going to make me change my mind about playing the game. So I still like the game. I'm still going to continue to play it, and I'm still looking forward to the VR. Because once the VR comes, like I said, this game is going to offer me something that I don't get out of many games, and to be able to play, like to be able to race a car like this in a possible rank race in VR. Now, this car is available on GT7, so I could race this car in VR. The problem is that it costs 20 million in-game credits, and if you were to buy in-game currency with real money, this car will cost you $200 in real life money on GT7.
At Greatentrum 523 said, "Do you feel the letter address they released seem genuine?"
The letter that they put out, I think, was damage control. Because that letter came out only hours after the game officially released. And then you go to the Steam page and the reviews are mostly negative. And I know that some people have been refunding the game. And I think that might be why that letter came out, was to slow down people refunding the game. So I think what the letter was intended to do was for the people that were thinking about refunding the game and getting a refund on Steam. I think by promising them, by telling them, look, we know we screwed up, but we're going to make this right. We're going to fix this game because this is, this is our passion, yada, yada, yada. And then those people might say, okay, I'll wait it out and give them a chance to fix this game. And then you're going to get past your refund window. So I think part of it was damage. I think part of that letter was damage control. But I also think what they're trying to do is take the approach that Studio 397 did with Le Mans Ultimate, because they were transparent. The game released in a broken state. They opened up the Discord. They listened to the criticism. And then, like, when people said, like, one of the criticisms of the game was it didn't have a radar. And people let it be known that they wanted a radar. Shit, within like 2 weeks, the game had a radar in it. So they were transparent that, yes, we're listening. And then Stephen Hood would come out with an update video like once a month, letting you know this is what we fixed. This is what we're looking to address moving forward. So I think the transparency of Le Mans Ultimate and keeping everybody in the loop of what they plan to do, I think that's gave people faith in the game, and they stuck with the game. And I think that faith in the game, for the most part, is paid off, because it is a good game aside from the crazy driving that's been going on. So I think that this dev is trying to take the same approach of, this is the problems that we are aware of. This is what we plan to do moving forward. So yeah, I think the letter is more damage control than it is. I think it's more damage control than it is of transparency. You know what? I haven't tried this car yet. Let's give it a whirl. I do feel like if they would have put this game in early access, they wouldn't have had to put out an apology letter. But if they put the game out in early access, they probably only get about half of the money that they're looking for, because I don't think you can do early access on consoles. So they would have gotten the PC money from people buying the game in early access, but they wouldn't have gotten any of the console money yet. I
At
know.
Greatentrum523 said, at least the critics are saying that the game is good if you play the classic cars. And that they know it will only get better over time with future patches.
Agreed. Wait a minute. There's no soft tires for this car.
Not ideal, we're starting last.
Well, I mean, the game, I don't feel that other than the online, I don't really feel like the game is in that bad of a state. I like the game enough. So yeah, I do take the approach that, yeah, it can only get better. No traction control, no ABS.
At Greatentrum523 said, I heard a guy say the traction on wets are better than on soft in this game.
I heard that
That is
too.
broken, they claim. At Greatentrum523 said, that the wets are better on dry road than the soft.
Look at this when you change gears. Look at the front end bounce. I like that attention to detail. Oof, oof. Look like we got to do that one.
At HolyandonSick156 said, remember the other day it was impossible to get into a match, LUL.
Yeah. Yeah, they got to get that online fixed more sooner than later, because there is no way that those lobbies are supposed to be empty when you got 3 platforms with PC, PlayStation, and Xbox.
At Greatentrum523 said, hello.
Oh, Tantrum. There you go. Okay, it keeps saying great TA something. That speech chat saying your name weird. How's it going? How's it going, Dan Sock? Look at the mirror. I can see the guy's helmet in the mirror.
At HolyandonSick156 said, I like that you crashed out being amazed from the physics engine. I would too. At Greatentrum523 said, yeah, good my man.
Ooh. This ain't gonna end well.
At HolyandonSick156
Track limit violation
said,
confirmed by officials.
apparently only YouTubers like yourself control the numbers behind our names because some have no numbers. It's somewhere in your settings.
I haven't touched the settings, so if there's a number showing up next to your name, that's by default. Because I don't mess around with any of the YouTube settings. I just Yeah, this car's. Ooh.
Track limit violation. Officials noted it.
Oh, they hit me with 12 seconds. Oh shit! Ooh. Damn, you gotta. Ooh. Ooh, with that car, you gotta break.
At HolyandonSick156 said, I can see now in chat some people have no numbers. It's apparently the owner of the channel's setting. When you have time, look into it, bro. At Greatentrum523 said, the penalty system is broken. AI can knock you off track and you get penalized.
As crazy as it sounds, I somewhat like the penalty system. Once people understand that penalty system, some of them are going to be on their best behavior right from the start. That penalty system can work for you or against you. Now, you do make a point that if somebody knocks you off the track, you're going to get the penalty for it. And that part sucks. But what I do like about this is that if you go off the track, they make you pay for it right then and there. They instantly tack 2 seconds onto your time.
At HolyandonSick156 said, at the end of the day it doesn't bother me really, but I miss my old name being pronounced LUL.
Oh yeah, I mean, so I get what you mean right there, because what it is it's whatever your at name is. Like, so it's at hole in the Dan sock. So it's all, the speech chat is trying to spell it out. Whereas the way you normally do it, the way you normally type your name in there, I have to go figure it out, because I don't like that, because some people, your at name is different than what your actual name is. So it doesn't say your name right. So yeah, you're right about that. Coming back to the penalty system of this game. Now, where it can work against you is if somebody pulls some of that bullshit that you'll see on Gran Turismo, where these people will hit you with the intentions of knocking you off the track. The reason why they do that is so they can go through the corner full throttle and not slide off the track. They're basically using you as a barrier. So they hit you, you get knocked off the track, and they stay on the track. That shit like that is going to work against you. But where it can work for you, I'm always like, when I race, I'm always checking the mirrors and I'm always checking the radar. So when I see that a car is about to dive bomb, I hit the brakes and let him shoot right through me. So if he comes into that corner with the intentions of pinballing off of me, so he can stay on the track, I'm going to hit the brakes. When he misses me, he will fly straight off the track and he will get hit with an instant 2-second penalty. If people play chess like that, these over-aggressive drivers are going to find out they are going to pay for being over-aggressive, going off the track, not slowing down and shit like that. They're going to pay. Whereas games like Race Room, for instance, you go off the track, they give you 1 point, but you don't get hit with any kind of drive-through penalty or something like that until you accumulate 40 points. Le Mans Ultimate, it depends on whether it's a sprint race or an endurance race. Your limit can be 3 points or 5 points. You go off the track and get a track violation, they hit you with 0.25, a quarter of a point. That means that you can make that same mistake 12 times before you get hit with any kind of drive-through penalty. Whereas this game, if you make a mistake and go off that track, now the game is aware that if you go off the track and you slow down, I think the game is aware of you making a conscious effort to slow down, so they may not hit you with a penalty. But if you do go off the track and you don't slow down and you gain an advantage from it, Instant 2 seconds.
Really get into a quite a special zone, and there is something different about driving in the night that you do end up in a different state.
Some of these guys are so aggressive
More in your own world.
that they are willing to let the car go off the track so it doesn't slow down their momentum. Like, because that's like these over aggressive guys, that's what kills their game is if the momentum gets broken. If something happens to them where they are forced to slow down, it kills them. It kills their momentum. And that's why a lot of them will bump cars out of the way and shit like that, because they don't want to have to slow down. They don't want to have to wait until they get to turn 8 to finally make a move on somebody and you're at turn 2. So they're willing to push your ass out of the way right now. And even when they get past you, like I said, they're still willing to let the car go off the track and take those slight penalties, the 1 point, the quarter of a point, the half point, whatever. But with this game, like I said, you go off that track, you get hit with an instant 2-second penalty. And then they'll still warn you to slow down. And if you don't slow down, they'll continue to tack time on. Looks like I'm buffering again.
At Deluxe517 said, "You gone race, man?"
Yeah, I'm gonna race. I'm just putting around doing a few laps, but more than anything, I'm just engaging in conversation. So, I don't have any interest in the GT4s. The MX-5, that car surprisingly sounds nice. Slick looking car.
At Deluxe517 said, "AHH, been yapping." At Deluxe517 said, "Gotcha."
So yeah, I'm more or less engaging in conversation and putting around. But yeah, I'll get back out here and do some more laps. Let's jump over to the GT3s.
At Deluxe517 said, "I dropped a like for you brothers, smiling face with sunglasses." At Graydentrum523 said, "Let's go with the 787B on the LE mans." At Deluxe517 said, "And a subscription."
Appreciate the subscription. There is no Le Mans on here, but yeah, let's go with the 787B. In fact, we'll take a look at that and the Sauber Mercedes, because when it comes to the Group C cars, the Sauber Mercedes and the 787B are my favorite cars. Now that Jag, I always thought that was an ugly car. Like, I like the front end of it, but the back wheels, how the back wheels got those wheel covers on it, I think that makes the car look ugly. Even this Porsche, that giant wing, yeah, that's kind of an ugly car. This Nissan looks okay. But yeah, I think the 787B, I think the 787B and the Sauber Mercedes are the best sounding cars in this class, and I also think they're the best looking cars in this class. But yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. I don't know how I didn't even think about using this. Yeah, let's go ahead and stay with Monza. The way the 787 sounds when it's idle versus when it's actually moving is like worlds apart. You hear that bloop, 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 bloop. And then when it takes off, you hear that.
At Greydentrum 523 said, "Oh man, no LE mans. Perhaps
Yeah.
in a DLC."
That's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping at some point that we will get Le Mans.
Keep focused.
Oh, come on, dude. He threw it in reverse. There's a little bit of body roll. Ooh.
At FS Mango Juice said, "Wait, this game doesn't have LE mans."
Nope, it doesn't, unfortunately. But I'm pretty sure they'll get it. If memory serves me correct, Automobile Listener 2 originally didn't have Le Mans, and it took like 2 years for that game to finally get that track.
At FS Mango Juice said, "LOL."
Yeah, that's unfortunate. brakes on this car is actually better than I thought it would be.
At Greatentrum 523 said, I heard the GT1 cars feel kind of like you're driving an airboat.
Well, we can take a look at them. So, as far as this 787B goes, the car sounds good. But I have to be honest and say that I think that GT7 still has the best sounding 787. Well, let's check out, and a case can be made that GT7 probably has the best sounding Sauber Mercedes, although I think the Automobilista 2 version of this car sounds pretty good too. So yeah,
at Greatentrum 523 said that the tires don't feel grounded, like as though it hovers.
I can see where they would feel that way because physics-wise, this game feels a lot like Project Cars 2 and Automobilista 2, which is have been criticized for having floaty feeling physics. But we can have a look. But the other thing I was about to say, Tantrum, is it's hard for me. Sitting here right now, it's hard for me to criticize the physics because I am sitting at a Logitech G923.
At Adrenaluquity said, I'm eating sugar cookies.
Unfortunately, I can't eat those. So I am a type 2 diabetic.
Not ideal, mate. They're gonna be massive.
So, as far as the handling goes, it's hard for me to judge it from this wheelbase because I'm at a Logitech 923 wheelbase. If I was at my Fanatec wheelbase in the other room, I think I could give you a fair assessment of how the car feels. So like right now, I'm just conversating. I'm just having conversation with the chat and just putting around and just having fun. So, so this stream right here isn't so much an assessment of the game because I've kind of already given my thoughts on the game yesterday. So this is more or less just, you know, conversation talking about, I think, some of the unfair criticism that this game has been taking.
Good luck, mate. You can do it.
At FS Mango Juice said, yeah, I'm staying off this game.
I still like it. Ooh, stupid AI. Okay, so
at Slayer 9373 said, hello.
How's it going? Now, as far as the way this car sounds, I think I can say that as far as the engine grunt goes, I think GT7 still might have a better sounding Sauber Mercedes. But one thing I like about this car is when you change gears, it's almost like the car sounds like it's releasing pressure because you hear a little in between changing gears. So I do like that. Ooh, the body roll on this car though.
You committed a track limit violation.
Oh. Man, these older cars got a lot of body roll though.
At Greatentrim 523 said, for the longest time I would play the hood cam. But then someone said, have you ever seen a real driver racing sitting in the hood?
Oh, look at that!
LOL,
I
I
lost
was
the
like,
front
you do
end.
have a point.
I lost the
At
front end.
Greatentrim 523
Look.
said, then I switched to cockpit view and stayed there.
Look at that! I lost the front end of my car.
At Adrenaluquity said, that's because you didn't change the part of the last one even if you know. But not the other one. At Slayer9373 said, Je suis curieux de savoir comment la voix va parler avec un message en français.
That's not translated to English, so I'm sorry. I don't know what that's saying. Look at that. I
At
lost.
Greatentrim 523 said, damaged.
That's crazy. I think only iRacing has this level of damage. I lost the front end of my car. Did you guys see that? When I hit that wall, that front end went flying off the car and like damn near flew across the track. That's crazy. Oh my God. Who says this game, the potential is there?
At Greatentrim 523 said, I did. At Adrenaluquity said, I'm only typing a message so the text-to-speech interrupts you.
Okay, well it worked. Okay, so what did you want me to try? The GT or the GT1s? Now with the GTs, I've tried this Aston Martin, and it sounds damn good. I think the Aston Martin, this DBR9, I think it sounds a little.
At Adrenaluquity said, face with tears of joy.
Face with tears of joy. As I was saying, I think
At Greatentrim 523 said, Slayer said, I am curious to see how the voice will speak with a message in French.
Okay. Well, I guess it worked, because I didn't understand it. But yeah, the Automobilista 2 version of this car sounds a little bit better. I've already tried it. Let's try one of these Corvettes. That car got a shorter block end. Nah. Let's go with this one. So the C5, the C6, I like the back end of the C6, but I like the front end of the C5. Let's give it a go. Car sound like it's got some rumble.
I hope you're ready for this. Good luck, mate.
At Greatentrum 523 said, I like how it says traveling to track instead of loading.
Yeah.
At Slayer 9373 said, you play with a wheel or a controller?
I'm on a wheel. I'm on my wheel in my bedroom. It's a Logitech G923, but my main wheel outside in the living room is a Fanatec Podium DD1, and it's a GT Omega cockpit. So
At Adrenaluquity said, I'm not sure if I'm going to buy the game, but if I do I will buy it months down the line.
okay. I don't have any, if people are apprehensive about the game, then they shouldn't buy it. And that's cool. My biggest gripe has been with, I think some of these content creators, I think they've been overly dramatic with their negative reviews of the game.
At Greatentrum 523.
Hold on, look at that.
Said.
It actually left tire
Gamer
tracks.
Muscle seemed to like this game. He said the FFB is good, especially if you know how to dial it in.
Okay, for once he was positive about a game. That's a, you know, normally he's always saying that it doesn't have the high dynamic range of a SATA Corsair. Look at that. This, you can see the tire tracks in the grass. Now that's small attention to detail that this game isn't going to get any credit for.
At Greatentrum 523. Said. That is nice attention to detail.
Yeah, it is.
At Greatentrum 523. Said. Gamer Muscle is a huge stickler for FFB.
Like let's go back and try that Mercedes CLK, because that's one of my favorite.
At Adrenaluquite. Said. Can you please drive at Kyalami? That's one of my favorite tracks. Sure. I want to see how it looks in this game.
Sure. I'll do that right now. Kyalami. And let's go back and kill two birds with one stone. Because I think Tantrum wanted to see the GT1 cars. And right here, this Mercedes CLK. Way back when I used to play Project Gotham games that was on the Xbox, like Project Gotham 3, this was my favorite car on the game. I also believe this is the car that made history, because this was the car that flipped backwards on Le Mans. I guess it flipped once in practice, and I guess the drivers tried to tell the owners or engineers about it, and they insisted that the car was fine, and then the car flipped in Le Mans, in the actual 24 hours of Le Mans, and when it flipped, they retired the second car. They just immediately pulled it from the race.
At Adrenaluquite. Said. Subscribed Flexed Biceps.
Hey, appreciate the subscription. Thank you so much. Yeah, let's go ahead and give this a try. Kill two birds with one stone. I want to hear what this car sounds like anyway, because I think this is the last time I drove this car was on Automobile Lista 2, like a couple of years ago. Hope everybody plans to have a happy Thanksgiving tomorrow. And one thing I definitely want to urge you guys to do for Thanksgiving. I live in Grand Rapids, Michigan. So I urge everybody to watch the Detroit Lions tomorrow. And hope they get a much needed victory. So they can position themselves to try to win the division. So eat some turkey, watch the Detroit Lions. Ooh, that rumble sound nice.
I hope you're ready for the start from the back challenge.
Let's take a look at a couple of these cars. That one is ugly.
At Greatentrum 523. Said. Let us know if it feels like an airboat.
Okay.
LOL.
Alright, you got it.
Good luck, mate. You can do it.
Oh, it sounds nice though.
At Adrenaluquit said, "Alright, let's see Kyle aiming."
Oh, I should have braked a little bit earlier.
At Greatentrum 523 said, "Do you know if this game has seasons like Project Cars 2?
I don't know.
Like if you want to race in the summer or winter, etc." At Slayer9373 said, "What is your graphical settings?"
Okay, let me pull over so I can answer both of those questions. I don't know if this game has seasonal. I don't know if it has seasonal settings or not. I wouldn't want to race in the snow anyway, unless it's that specific type of race. I would not want to drive this type of car on a track filled with snow. You know, everybody's going to fly off the track. So to answer the question about my graphical settings, I have it set to ultra. Now, in all fairness, I do want to warn you. I'll show it to you. I have the resolution set at 1080p, but I have the graphical settings at ultra. See right there at the top where it says hardware profile, it says ultra, ultra, very high, ultra, ultra, ultra. And that's the whole reason why I put the graphics card in the title of this stream. Because, you know, I say it over and over again that I've got 4 PCs. My super duper PC has a 4090 in it. This is the PC that I'm sitting at now is normally the PC that I do my streaming from. This has a 3070 Ti in it. And the reason why I put the the graphics card in the title of this stream is so for people that's got a similar PC, they got an idea of whether their PC would be able to run this game or not. So if you have a 3070 Ti, and especially if you're willing to run this game at 1080p, at the very least, you're going to be able to run it at high settings and still run it. And then the other thing is, I do not have the DLSS turned on. Right here at the bottom, the DLSS is off. So whatever the frame rate I'm getting on this game is native frame rates. It's not DLSS, not frame generation. So I kind of expected that this game will do that, because I've noticed that with racing games, they are not that demanding unless you do it in VR. Now, when you do these racing games in VR, yes, now they can get quite demanding. So I'm not surprised by what this computer is doing flat screen, but when the VR comes, that's going to be a different story. That's where I'm going to have to make a lot of compromises. That's when I'm going to have to turn the graphical settings down to medium or even low. And so right there, the resolution right there is at 1080p. I haven't even attempted to try this at 1440p or even 4K. I really don't care about that much, at least not flat screen. Now, when I go into VR, yes, I absolutely need the clearest possible picture I can get, because it makes a huge difference in me being able to get around a corner good if the corner is clear. So that Kyalami is one of my favorite tracks. So let's go back to Kyalami, and this time let's do it with a GT3. So to answer your question about this Mercedes CLK and how it handles it, as far as the slidey part goes, I don't know if these guys are taking into account that these older cars did not have ABS and they did not have traction control. So you absolutely had to, finesse the pedals. Whereas unlike today's, GT3 cars, at least with these sims, when you, depending on what your, settings are, you can smash the brake and you can smash the pedal.
At Greatentrum523 said, I see you use window borderless instead of full screen.
It's showing up here full screen though. Even though I'm using Windows borderless, I'm getting a full screen here. So there's no taskbar or anything like that from the PC showing up. I'm still getting a full screen. Boy, with this GT3 class, all these cars sound good, so I really don't even know which one to use. Now, I like the way this...
At ShaolinMonk4206 said, what's your wheel settings? I have a Logitech G29.
So, in-game settings, I'll show you that. Input device. So my steering pad sensitivity, I turned it down to 75, but as far as the Logitech software, I've got the steering sensitivity set to 360 degrees. I don't like having to turn the wheel hand over hand to get it around tight corners. I just want to be able to make quarter turns.
At Greatentrum523 said, I'm gonna head out.
Okay.
See you around,
yep,
buddy.
Thanks. Hey, thanks for hanging out. Really appreciate it. So yeah, so even though this is at 75 as far as the steering pad sensitivity, it's set at 75.
At ShaolinMonk4206 said, I'm on PS5.
Oh, okay. Now, the PS5 version of this game, the biggest thing that I've heard about it was that the graphics, not so much that the graphics themselves, like the textures and stuff like that. The biggest criticism I've heard of it is that the distance is blurry. Everything in the distance is blurry.
At Michelle Pint 3742 said, Shrewd.
Oh, hold on. Let me see the. Go back. Ooh. I like that livery. But this livery here looks like somebody went to the dealership, bought the car and put some race tires on it and then took it straight to the track.
At Slayer9373 said, can you drive the Porsche 917K?
I drove it a few minutes ago, but I'll go ahead and drive it again. The car sounds good. It's got a lot of body roll though. No, this one is the ever popular. This is the ever popular livery for the 91K. But we'll stay on Kyalami. This car has a lot of body roll, and this is another one of those older cars that doesn't have ABS and it doesn't have traction control. So the car has a ton of power and it has a lot of body roll. When I'm shifting with this car, you're gonna notice the bounce. You're gonna notice the front end picks up as I'm shifting. Or at like when I'm shifting, I think it'll drop a little bit, and then once I shift the gears and still accelerate, you'll notice the nose will lift a little bit.
Not ideal, we're starting.
All right, let's go.
Good luck, mate.
The car wants to swivel all over the place. It does not feel stable. You kind of can't go all out smashing that pedal because the back end wants to swivel on you. Because of that body roll, you can't make any sudden, like, jerky movements with this car either. Damn, and you got to brake a lot earlier too with this car. Yeah, that back end definitely wants to fishtail around. Yeah, this is a hard car to drive. Yeah, that back end just wants to swerve all over the place. Going into corners, I'm hitting I'm staying on the racing line, but as I try to come out of the apex, that back end wants to swing around. So what I'm finding out is I'm having to tap the pedal to add throttle to the car and keep that back end from coming loose, because it definitely wants to oversteer and slide around. Oops. Well, I haven't tried Red Bull Ring yet, so let's do that. All right. Red Bull Ring. Let's go. See right there, the car doesn't have that glossy look like it did in the showroom. People have criticized that. Not a big deal to me. I mean, but I still notice it.
Hope you've got some tricks up your sleeve, because we're starting from the back.
Kazuya Nakamura.
At Akablunts5481 said, is anyone else having trouble with ranked multiplayer?
Yeah,
It fails to put me in a lobby after waiting for entry.
there's definitely some issues with the online, because every time I go and check it, there's only like 1 or 2 people registered for any races. So they definitely got to address that online multiplayer.
At Akablunts5481 said, are you on wheel or controller?
I'm on a wheel. I'm on a Logitech wheelbase. It's not my main wheelbase though. My main wheelbase is a Fanatec Podium DD1. So that being said, if I was on my Fanatec wheelbase where I'm actually sitting in the cockpit, my lap times would be much better. And not only that, I also have phase shakers connected to my cockpit, so it gives me more detail in terms of a roll detail, wheel slip, wheel lock.
At Akablunts5481 said, what cockpit?
GT Omega Prime. But I'm sitting on, like, I'm at my streaming PC, which is in the bedroom, and I'm sitting in a lawn chair with my Logitech wheelbase connected to a folding table. So yeah, my lap times aren't going to be near as good as it was if I was sitting in my rig. So yeah, it feels pretty good. So as I've said a couple of times throughout this stream, the reason why I'm at this computer right here is because this computer that I'm sitting at has a 3070 Ti, and this is to give people an idea that if they have a computer with about the same specs and they're wondering if their computer will run it, this will give them an idea of whether their computer can handle it or not. My other PC in the other room that my Fanatec is connected to, that has a 4090 in it. So just out of curiosity, let's have a look at the multiplayer. It's, if it's still broken, it's still broken, but I'm still curious. Hey, they got 2 people. but it's gonna be 17 minutes before the next race, which I don't feel like waiting that long because I'll be ready to wrap it up here pretty soon. Let's see if I can join that. Now that's been a problem that I have not been able to join any custom lot. Oh, okay. There's only 2 people in here. And since it's giving me the option to ready up, he's probably waiting for people.
At Akablunts5481 said, any suggestions on will FFB settings?
Not really, except just keep playing with it until you find something you like. Now, the force feedback settings in this game, I have not really played around with it that much. Input device right here, the force, where's it at? Force feedback, where are we at? Force feedback smoothing, force feedback headroom. Oh, global force feedback, duh. So right here for the G923, like I left it at 100%, and through the Fanatec, through the Logitech control panel on PC, I left it at 100% too, because this Logitech G923, I believe, only has 2.1 Newton meters of torque. I mean, you can turn that wheel with your pinky. It doesn't have much resistance. Now, my DD1 on the other hand has 20 Newton meters of torque, which has enough force to break your wrist if you're not careful. That one I have turned down quite a bit. The wheelbase is set. The wheelbase itself, I have it set to about 40%. And then most of these games with the in-game force feedback, I have it turned down to about 70%. Because if you go way up there like 90-95% or something like that, if the game's not well optimized, you might get some clipping, you might get some oscillation. See if I can get in here. Now, for whatever reason, it won't let me into that one. Maybe the race is already underway and it won't let me in. Well, it's letting me join this one. Vehicle, change vehicle. I'll go with this funky BMW. Oh, this is at Lime Rock. All right. They show this, you hear that radio clip in the back, and they mentioned Ferrari, but there's no Ferraris on this game. All right, there's a countdown, so we're about to get underway. Damn, people dropping out? What the hell's going on? Yeah, I'll do a few laps around here so we can see how how the multiplayer is gonna stand up. Although I got into a few sessions yesterday, and the ones that I got in, they ran all right. It just wasn't a lot of people in them.
Hammer down now.
So this car right here, because of this Logitech wheel that I'm on, I'm feeling like almost no force feedback, but I also have to take into account that the car's got cold tires too. Yeah, it feels slippery. Ooh! All right, folks, this is a little bit warm in here. I got to turn on the fan for a second. All right.
All clear.
Car wanted to come loose from that, dropping it down to second gear. Oh! Crap.
Timing screen has you at the top. You've got 5 minutes left.
Ah! I tried to brake at the last possible second. I still got the fastest lap, but I just kept trying to build on it. That's a funky car to get used to. And obviously this is one of those cars where if you put the car in a lower gear than it feels like it should be, then that back's going to come loose on you. Excuse me. Now it says no lobbies found. Uh-oh, looks like we might have used up our one hall pass to get inside an online session and we can't get back in. So yeah, that's probably what the big problem is with this multiplayer. They are going to have to address that. Okay.
At Oaksit said, yeah, we just left the GT3 lobby.
Okay, I wish I could have got in there. This race starts in 5 minutes. Damn, but it's 20 laps. I don't want to sit in this chair for 20 laps because this lawn chair is not exactly comfortable. I mean, if I was in my rig, oh yeah, I'd be licking my chops for a 20-minute race. I mean, for a 20-lap race. Let me see. I could probably start the race. I don't know if I'll finish it, but I could probably start it. And then these liveries. Yeah, I kind of like that livery. Yeah, I think...
At Oaksit said, ranked is kinda buggy right now.
Yeah, I mean, when I did a race yesterday at Imola, how much time we got? 2 minutes. I thought like there were cars off the track and the cars weren't moving, and I thought the guys were just being jerks. The cars were off the track and they weren't moving, and I thought the guys were just being jerks and not, you know, just wanting to ruin everybody else's race. So I don't know, maybe it was a bug, I don't know. my fan's about to burn out.
At Oaksit said, liked and subbed, hope
Thank
to
you.
see you on track.
Thank you so much. I'm definitely like I'm registered for this race. I guess can't promise that I'll finish it.
At Adrenaluquity said, I'm heading out, take care.
All right, thanks for dropping in. Appreciate it. Are we ready to go? Yeah, I don't know if I'll finish this whole race, but I'll go as long as I can, and then I'll probably hang it up. Because I don't know how long I've been live. I think it's been a couple hours at least.
At Oaksit said, bugged.
Oh, crap. I was looking away. Yeah, that happened yesterday too, so, oh well. Let me see what's there for custom lobbies.
At Oaksit said, if you see that long connecting to server time, it's not going to let you in.
Yeah, I see. Wow, that was kind of quick getting in there.
At Big Rock 18 said, happy Thanksgiving from the McCready family and enjoy a weekend of hopefully some good clean racing.
Well, as I explained earlier, it's a win-win because as we get more and more racing games, more and more people will spread out to these racing games, meaning that the dirty drivers will be more and more spread out, so there will be less and less bullshit to deal with. So it's a win-win. So
At Oaksit said, custom work just fine.
okay, so it's the rank races where there's a problem, and these tires are ice cold, so the car's probably gonna slip. And I don't know this track.
Clear of pit lane.
At Oaksit said, I advise racers to learn the tracks before hopping online LOL.
Well, I'm putting around on my secondary wheelbase, which is a G923 Logitech. My main wheelbase is
At
in the other
Oaksit
room, so
said, or at least use the racing line.
yeah. So I'm like that I can't do because my pride won't let me use a racing line. It's because that's like training wheels. You know, I've been sim racing for about 6-7 years, and my pride just won't let me, you know, put training wheels on. I just learned tracks the hard way. And besides, if you follow the rubber in the road, that's really your racing line. You don't need it if you follow the rubber in the road. So I'll show you what I'm talking about when I get to
Timing started, so this lap counts.
right here.
At Oaksit said, LOL, I feel you.
So a lot of these tracks, when you get to the corners, you'll see a trail in the track from all the rubber, from all the other tires on cars. Like right here. This is the racing line right here. You can see the dark rubber from all the cars that went through this corner. That's your racing line. So you really don't even need to turn it on. And right here, you follow the tracks right here. You see where people are swinging out. And then you follow that right there. That's your racing line.
At Oaksit said, I never use racing lines either, BT I've been racing a long time.
Then, and then, when you look at the trail, the darker where the trail is, that's where you can see that people have been braking the hardest. So when you come to a corner and you start to see the small trail, you see this trail here, we're getting ready to head to a straight, but I'll show you when we get to the next hard corner. But you see the trail along this track, that's the racing line. But right here, where it starts to get darker and darker, that tells you that's where people have been braking. So if you get to a corner and you don't see any brake markers or anything that you can reference to use as a brake marker, you can always follow that trail and see what the line is that people have been taking. And when you enter that corner, like right here, I just missed it right there. That trail got darker, meaning that cars have been braking in that line, and some cars have even locked up. But that's the racing line. But you know, like I said, I'm on my secondary wheelbase in the bedroom on this Logitech wheelbase, and you know, I'm just putting around having fun and shit on this wheelbase. But if I was on my other wheelbase, yeah, I would definitely be putting in a lot of practice learning the track before I jump out here and try to race. So the tracks that I know very well, that's from hours and hours and hours of practicing.
At Oaksit said, which Logitech?
A 923. So I've had several wheelbases throughout the years. My first wheelbase was a Thrustmaster T150. And then when Fanatec came out with the CSL DD, that was a hot thing because that was like the first budget direct drive wheelbase, and I was trying to get one, but the thing was in high demand, and then we were dealing with COVID, and so because of the high demand, because of COVID, because of shipping, because of the shipping pipeline getting jammed up and all that stuff, after about 3 months of waiting and getting numerous letters from Fanatec saying that it's going to arrive on this date or it's still on a boat in China and all this kind of shit, I got tired of waiting. So I went to the Fanatec website to see what they had in warehouses within America. So they have a distribution warehouse in California, and they had the Podium DD1 in stock, which was $1,200, a 20 Newton meter wheel. So I bought that, and then I bought the Fanatec V3 load cell pedals. And I bought a couple of wheels, the McLaren GT3 wheel, as well as the Formula V2 wheel. And then my rig is a GT Omega Prime. And before I bought all that stuff, when I first ordered the CSL DD, I actually went on eBay and I bought a Fanatec CSL Elite wheelbase, and I bought a couple of sets of pedals. I bought the CSL pedals and the CSL Elite wheel pedals before finally upgrading to the load cell pedals. So yeah, like in the other room, my equipment in the other room is the rig, the wheelbase, the pedals, all that shit, probably about $3,000. So how did I end up with a Logitech wheelbase? Well, I'm sitting at my computer in the bedroom, and I wanted a simple wheelbase to connect to my PS5, which is also in my bedroom with me, where I can just, if I want to, just roll out of bed, hop in a chair and putt around and do some laps. So that's basically what I'm doing now. If I was at my other wheelbase, I would have had the webcams turned on, because I got, I got a pedal cam attached to the rig, and got a camera facing at the chair. So that's but since I'm sitting in my bedroom, that's why you guys don't see a cam. So yeah, when I'm sitting at this.
At Oaksit said, love the PC name BTW, that's my childhood.
Hold on, PCW. Got a little bit lost on that one. Hold on, let me go back and see that. Oh, love the piece. Oh, so yeah, I don't know. Maybe you saw it in the description that all my PCs got names. Um, I've got 4 PCs and 3 of them have names. Um, my PC that has the 4090 in it, that one is named Voltron. And then my secondary PC that my son uses, it has a 3080 Ti in it. That PC is named Voltron Jr. And then this PC that I'm sitting at right here with the 3070 Ti in it, that PC is named Bumblebee. And then my 4th PC, which is just sitting in a corner somewhere, it's got a 2070 in it, and I don't even use it. It's not even connected to anything. I don't even have a name for that PC. Because for one, because I don't know if I'm going to keep that PC or not. I'm going to upgrade it and put a 3070 in it this weekend, and then I might sell it. So I don't know.
At Oaksit said, Voltron was my childhood LOL.
I was in high school when Voltron came out. I'm old. I'm 58 years old. And I think when Voltron came out, I think I still might have, yeah, I was still in high school, because I love Voltron so much that, like, when I was in high school, I was kind of like an artist, because I love drawing stuff out of comic books and TV shows and stuff. And so when I should have been doing my homework and stuff like that, I was drawing pictures of Voltron and Thor, Spider-Man and shit like that. So yeah, Voltron was part of my teenage years. I think I was a sophomore in high school when Voltron came out. That's funny too, because on the original PSVR, on the original PlayStation VR, there's a Voltron game that I actually bought, but it was the characters wasn't based on the original Voltron cartoon. It was like on that remix remaster shit that came along years later.
At Oaksit said, Right on Og. I'm 43.
Oh, okay. So you're old enough to know what's going on. But I still got a jump on you. I still got a 15-year jump on you. So yeah, I'm 58 years old and I'm going to play video games until the day I die. So, she's this working its way towards 1 o'clock. Let me see how long I have been streaming. Okay, about 3.5 hours. Yesterday, I think I streamed yesterday. I streamed twice yesterday because the game officially released yesterday. I streamed the first stream, I think that was probably about 2 hours. And then when I streamed again later on in the evening, that was about a 4-hour stream. It was about 3.5. So yeah, I appreciate everybody coming by. Now to bring everybody up to speed about as far as what I plan to do as far as streaming some more this weekend. Tomorrow I'm supposed to get together with my teammate and we're supposed to do the 2.4 hours of Le Mans endurance race on Le Mans Ultimate. And I'm sure I'll do some more streaming because I'm off work until Tuesday, so I'm going to do a lot of streaming this weekend. And then the other scheduled stream that I want to make everybody aware of is that Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, I will be doing a 1-hour race on Race Room. I forgot which track it's at, but it's a 1-hour endurance race. I'll be doing that race as well. And then, but I'm really liking this game. I'm still learning this game. I still love the audio of most of the cars across this game. So I will still be streaming a lot of Project Motor Racing over the weekend. The big difference is the next time I stream, I might be on my other rig because I've got base shakers connected to that rig, and it's really immersive when I feel the entire rig shaking from road details, from RPMs and stuff like that. So, but yeah, everybody will see a lot of me this weekend. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and boogie on out of here. I really appreciate it. So yeah, definitely happy with the conversation. Everybody, pitching in on the conversation. Everybody had questions, had their opinions, whatnot, and so yeah, um, to put a bow on it, I do like this game, and I can't wait for the VR to come out for this game. But yeah, you're gonna see me streaming this game a lot. So once again, everybody, thanks for watching. I don't know what time we're gonna do the 2.4 hours of Le Mans because my teammate lives in Germany, so there's a 6-hour time difference. We'll have to get all that sorted out, and then I'll post it as soon as I hear back from him, and we come up with a time. So yeah, tomorrow be on the lookout for that. Um, Everybody definitely have a good Turkey Day.
At Big Rock 18 said, "Thank you."
You're welcome. Absolutely. Uh, make sure make sure you watch the Detroit Lions tomorrow. I live in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Lions play tomorrow for Thanksgiving. Get some turkey. Make sure you watch the Detroit Lions tomorrow as they take on the Green Bay Packers. This is a must-win situation for the Lions as they need this to try to position themselves to win the division and secure a playoff spot. So, all right, folks, we'll see you sometime tomorrow. Enjoy your Turkey Day. It's already 1 a.m. Eastern time here. So if you're going to stay up, watch some YouTube, play some games, have some fun. All right, folks. Until the next time, you all know the line. Wakanda forever. Long live the king, and deuces. We will see you all tomorrow, everybody. Have a good one.